So it always gives us a start of the box area of what we have going on here. So we are only limited to this box of adding roads and then zoning into the houses, the commercial buildings, meaning your grocery stores, possibly restaurants, but usually grocery stores or convenience stores that sell goods. Essentially, what that means, and then industry is your manufacturing plants, your factories, and down the line, offices. So, um, we're gonna, um, there we go, turn it around. So, this is, and it's having us build a road. Um, this is the area of entry of the area of what we have for right now until we can expand. Or get, yeah, expand given the option to, go past this box. So, what I'm going to do is kind of go at this angle, and it's kind of cool. You can get this low, but we're not going to get that low. We are going to get above kind of like that. And before I can kind of do any roundabouts or anything, it's having us kind of just thatch the road, and then it gives us the option. So what I'll do is bulldoze that, and then we're back to normal. I'll get a little bit of a discount back, but not much, if even. So we got these nice little roundabout that I would give this roundabout right above here, or right around here. So people are getting off the highway and essentially going into a roundabout. In my state, where I live, there is multiple cities that you get off the highway and you're going into a roundabout. So essentially here, we're going to add that roundabout. It's a small one. It's not like this big one that I would have to get 2,400 population to able to build a big one. But a small one it will do. We can also expand the roads on it, and it will just keep the small circumference of that road. Now, the difference between this game and also City Skylines 2 is City Skylines 2, you have to unlock tokens to unlock kind of attributes within this game of parks, city parks, and all that jazz. Where this game, it's based off of population, and how much population, the more stuff you have available to you. So, for instance, the hydroplane, we need 2,400 people. The hydroplane, the wind turbine, we need the 24. Oil plant need 46, so on and so forth. And we are going to start off with a wind turbine. Essentially, it's $6,000 compared to $19,000, and the upkeep is $560, where it's $6,000 and it's $80 essentially a week for upkeep. So we are going to add it right there, and what that caption is showing is that this is the power, essentially, border. And what I learned about in school with the electricity is kind of similar to your house, where your house is grounded within your panel of your electricity panel, and it's going to be grounded into the ground. And so the ground is also technically absorbing some electricity too as well. So with that aspect of this is kind of realistic of the catchment area of receiving electricity, which is kind of cool to put into that aspect of what I've learned in school. So we have one wind turbine that's right here, and then we also need water for plumbing services, water coming in, and your sewage going out. So we are going to attach our water pump right there. Now it's also going to need electricity. We could either drag this all the way down, or we spend a little bit of money and add another wind turbine, essentially. And that will control that, and then all that would need is some water pipes. And I will go down to here and essentially down to there. So we have that kind of set for us already to begin with, but we also are going to need a drain spot taking it out. So then that's going to also need electricity, which we will add a wind turbine. And then we will add just the pipes along this mountain. And it will attach to that water pump. So when I were to hit the play button, everything is going to be connected. Or at least it should. As you can see, the water flowing, and there's no buildings being built, so there's no sewage needing to come through, and that's the other color. Or the green is the sewage, and the blue is usually the water. So the green was showing before the blue. So essentially, it's simulating that both are connected, and not so on and so forth. But there's no houses that are connected. So we have the economy. We're right now with all of our maintenance costs and everything else, we're losing money. Essentially, we can go here. These are our budgets. That's what it was. That box. And right now we have $45 per day, and then the water of 111 right now with all the piping and everything. So, and then we now eventually get to the nitty gritty. And to save money on everything, I could just, build these roads off of the concrete, and that's going to be more money. So, to kind of save up a little bit, going to be using some dirt roads. They're cheap, effective, and that's how it's going to start. And it's low on maintenance costs. So what we can do is kind of get a layout of what we're going to do. So we can have like this road go all the way down, go into this area, and then kind of branch out. Or we could have this road go either completely straight, or it can go straight and kind of have a curvature, and kind of like right here be our farming district. That way it can kind of just go straight and into the industry and call it good. Don't need to touch anything else, which I may consider doing. But overall, it doesn't give me the option yet, but you can also look at all these different options of this would be the natural resources. So as soon as something were to get going and we add houses and everything, essentially you can look at all of this stuff. But we will add concrete roads to the highway, but when it comes to out here, we will not. So we will do that, and then we will do that, and that is all taken care of. So one way is coming in, other way is coming out. I could essentially just delete this and make it two roads, that one is going towards here, another one's going to there, which actually kind of seems like a good idea now since I'm mentioning it. And we can delete those and kind of have it as a curved road. And kind of just do that, and then kind of do that on their way out. And we can also think about upgrading it, but they are not available. It's only these small roads. So essentially, they have to go through the roundabout in order to leave the city, which isn't a bad thing. And then for water also, I'm just going to add a water tower into the roundabout, kind of make it like an actual city feel, like you see your city water tower and everything else. So what I am going to do is kind of get this kind of set up a little bit down here. We're going to turn off that curved road, kind of go straight, just kind of go straight down a little bit, and then go in 200, kind of go in 200, go over 4, go up to over 4, kind of do that to start off with, then essentially do the businesses on the main kind of road, do the residential on the outside of the main road. So it's probably gonna be some connectivity going on. That is going to be needed. See if it's going to be, and it's perfect. Water doesn't need to be fixed. But what I will do is kind of get water kind of like that. So when the business do come around, as they are going to, that they have water and electricity as well. So this is a good start. Now it's also a sandbox game, so nothing is set in stone. Everything can get changed around. So it's not at the end of the world that something gets changed. And see multiple cars coming in, and now majority of it needs industry, which is a good thing, because I know within natural resources there is some farmland out here, And what we'll do is get some curved road. And then make it straight. Having 600, 200, and do another. And have two 600, and it says it needs industry, but I can't set districts yet. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this out here for right now, but it's going to need electricity for right now and also water. And there we go for that to start. And there's that. And there's that to get industry started. That way it's away from the living spaces and the we'll put it right there because I'm gonna make that available. So we will see how much gets futzed around. So, and then they will need workers. So, and that's more people that need to be built, which is how I'm going to start this whole there. Add that, and they have all the water. And it's also one end or the other that they're going to get electricity. So, and this symbol can change the road names if I truly wanted to. But this symbol, meaning not enough workers, and with us adding residential, it should help. Should being the keyword and not essentially going to. But then it's going to make more industrial and more commercial. I thought that was kind of taken care of, but I guess not. But either way, one end or the other, they're going to get some electricity coming through. And we can build some more. That's going to break, and that's going to be fine. Because right away, it's going to get houses coming in, and then it's going to connect with this power supply of a wind turbine, and we just have Little Hamlet now. So we have the ability to get taxes adjustment, so we can make their taxes bigger. We can take out loans. We got garbage that we'll need to clean up, and then elementary school for people to get educated, and a clinic for people to stay healthy. And we don't have the ability to do the districts yet, because essentially what I would do in this district is make it a farming district. Um, I don't have that ability yet. I think I have to wait until 850 to kind of see that. But overall, um, we would be able to see should be getting water. Okay, now it's just getting it. Okay. We would see that this would change into more farms, um, cornfields, silos, whatever the vanilla game were to make, essentially. Doesn't have enough workers, so we need a lot of more residential. Um, and kind of do this block style. Add more residential to it. This is kind of like the downtown area. And then eventually somewhere, probably be right here, will branch off, and this will be where all the trash is. So it's away from people, and people do end up getting, sick from the trash pollution and everything else. So we'll do 100 there, about 400 there, and the trash fits just fine. We will do 2 right away, so there's more than one truck picking up trash. So there they are. This one is having 4 of 15 going out. And then this one has 5 of 15 right now going out. But it will increase, whether it be close to 15 or lower. We can also adjust the amount of money that we are budgeting for trash. So the more we extend it going upwards, the more amount of vehicles are being available for them to deploy. Which right now we only have 580 people overall within the city, so we don't need that many trucks at the moment. I am going to take this road and attach it and make it another residential, because we didn't fill this business district yet, so I don't feel like we need to expand more of the business district if that didn't fill out. And this may potentially be moved, but I kind of like the way that this is going right now. Kind of having this setup of this is a roundabout, and then you take your first right, and you'll be getting to your, hometown, your commercial district down here, and then the houses, the single homes, in a more city kind of like feature to essentially be right there. And then don't have the districts yet, so I can't necessarily change this. We have a little bit of improvement of industry, but we have all of this backstretch available of industry. So we do have some room in that regard. So we are not in any worry overall when it comes to adding more services, but that did fill out pretty quick. We will kind of look at the situation here of this is essentially like just a normalized, house. It kind of seems like an apartment because it looks like a single family home that you would have one family, but in essence it has 4/4 households that you divided into fours, and you have 4 households, so you have 2 children, 1 teen, 1 young adult, and then 11 adults. So and it changes from household to household. I think I just select back on the same one, where like this one, for example, has 9 adults and 4 children. for 4 households. So we are collecting money, and we haven't changed any of the taxes or anything else. So that is a good sign that I don't have to adjust anything, that we are just taking this kind of slow and steady and not trying to push anything, and just kind of let the city build itself. But essentially, we will be adding kind of 2 more cubbies of, or pockets, cubbies, however you want to say it, of residential roads. And eventually it could get, passed on like up to here. I don't want to make it like too like close and everything. And here is a new symbol for you as we're going back and forth of this abandoned building. Now, when you play this game, it is on Steam. It is the older version of City Skylines. It's not the City Skylines 2, that is the newer version. But it is on Steam. This is the abandoned logo. And as I was going to say, before I got to the whole, kind of plug in City Skylines, of you hit the bulldozer and you just bulldoze the building. Now you may think, you bulldoze the building, it's gone. The catchment area of the industry is still there. It didn't leave. It didn't go. That was where the building was. You just delete abandoned building, and it will build itself up when the dire need of the metrics, so to speak, needs that building. So, that being said, until the next time we see yellow coming up, that space will be blank, like the rest of it right here. Now, if we were to right click it, it will unclick out of the industry, and then we could, essentially click it with the green that I have right now, and it will fill with residential. Now, that would be kind of not wise to do so, because not everyone wants to be next to a factory with all the noise. Now, we did upgrade to Worthy Village. We have 850 people within our city, and we can upgrade our catchment area. We right now are stuck in this box, this single box. We can look at the map, which we will do shortly, and choose another box that we can purchase, and then we can extend out that way. And then we have new features of districts. So as I was mentioning, with all the districts, we didn't have the ability yet. We can now change that industry district right now to farming, and that can change it completely. We have policies, so we can have certain policies that I will show. There is a second loan option. So the first loan is usually $20,000. Now with having 850, the second loan is $60,000. We do have district specializations, and we do have services policies. And then new services, which we didn't add any of the schooling or the education, but adding on to those services, we got the fire department, we got the police department, and then like monument unique buildings, so to speak. So those are the new services. And then with the industry specializations, we got the forestry specialization, agriculture specialization, and then new policies of the power usage, the water usage, the smoke detector distribution, and then it's showing the police station and the firehouse. So those are that. So with that being said, we have 850 people. A lot of these factories, more than likely will use uneducated workers and not educated workers. And this has a power issue. Now we do have 35,000. We can turn around and use a coal power plant for power, but we are not going to do that. We are going to use wind. It is part of the farming district. It will be part of the farming district, and we don't want to have a oil power plant disturbing the the farm industry area. I guess I can't speak today. But anyway, we will be having a new district, so we will hit that district button and we will comb around this area and we will expand it to right there because we will add more to it. So we will add up to there, up to there, and then the middle we will add more industry. But then what's going to happen, I'm going to click back on this district and we got farming. So we can right click or left click on it and it will change to farming. Now, if it's not going to fit the farming district like it's doing now, it is going to destroy itself and act like it's an abandoned building. It will go away and then it'll come back and look like a farming building, like this ice cube factory. Apparently is a farming district industry. And then we have this goods unlimited, more goods unlimited. Ready to wear is probably going to be one of them that will go unless if it stays. But essentially we have this like ice cube factory right there. This fills field. So I believe with these factories, these good unlimiteds, they may eventually be leaving and then they will be replaced with the farming of the bakery. That there's 12 jobs available and we have the people to supply those jobs, so we are not in worry of that. But we do have the possibility of adding a forestry district right here, which I may attach from this farming district, and we aren't in hurt of anything because our residential district right here in the commercial is being supplied very well. But we are having some power issues, so I'm gonna put another 2 fans right there and that should solve that issue. You could essentially like break it off and add a cool power plant or whatnot, but I don't want to do that just yet when we have the pollution already from the everyday trash. That's 1% full, and that's 1% full. Alright. So, without further ado, we probably don't need anything at the moment because of the jobs aren't being filled. Or jobs aren't being created for people to fill, so then we don't need people, we just need jobs. That's what essentially is happening right now. So with me taking away the general industry away and replacing it with farming, it kind of resets and it needs to build more industry for it to happen. And then we are going to build a dirt road right here at 400. kind of do two. I do 200 because then it max out like the amount you can have in a box, essentially. It allows you to capture more boxes in a box than if you were to do, differently. You can do 160. That is fine. And then we will do 200. And then we will do the same thing with this. We will shade it in. And have it be forestry. So I will go ahead and get that box up and rolling, so to speak, and this will be our forestry area for industry as well. I'll kind of leave the farming alone. So the only thing that it will need to be bothered is getting water to and from this location, and I try to do it underneath the roads. Essentially. And then it's just getting to and from of how I want to do this. Because it's like essentially you could just do here to here. But if you wanted to be like creative of continuing that to there, that's what I may do. Just kind of do it like that. Yeah, that's not too bad. Right there. Of how that looks. I think it's pretty good. To what would potentially be like drawn out of, this would be a farming business district, and you branch off into a lumber district. Overall, and then it's having us, point out education needs to be built out and stuff. But before kind of start doing that, and crimes being a big issue too as well, is we'll look at this big areas where we can buy this area, buy that area, buy that area, or buy that area, and it's different in price. 5,000, 5,000, 3,400, and 4,800. Essentially, I'd probably do the 5,000 because then you can branch off from the lumber industry to create like kind of another sub area too of living, or use this kind of to start it and kind of branch off into there when we can buy these sections and use the other highway. And that is how you would buy a new area. And so now police and fire are being a issue. So we will get that up and rolling. Can't afford the fire, but we can afford the police right now. We're also having some power issues. which is not a good thing. And we can't supply more power right now. So we'll get rid of the issue of police cars going to get the bad guys, cops and robbers, but we cannot solve your power issue, unfortunately, at the time being. But we essentially can and just take out a loan. Just something I don't want to do, but in essence of when we're kind of in a, not necessarily time crunch, but when we want to branch out and move around and we're just kind of sitting here, we'll just kind of speed up time, essentially, and hopefully money will grow kind of quickly. And then also off of this, we'll kind of branch out a little bit and kind of go off of here to have a little school district, a little bit of, suburban type area. We'll still branch off into here and kind of capture the whole like commercial within that main street, so to speak, but essentially we are kind of done when it comes to overall of that. So this needs workers, so essentially they need people. Alright, so we are going to create a little curved around area. Maybe we'll just kind of add it like that and still have this be its own thing and kind of just, be a little different, kind of have that be like that. This is too short. So we are going to that be that. And we are still essentially going to do that with that. A little bit more people to the party. And now that's all abandoned because we don't have the people for it. But we are trying to be creative and unique. That's what I'm trying to build. We will add education when we can because it's $10,000 for a elementary school. And hopefully it will speed fast enough. So we are there. With our 10,000. We will place it right there, and everybody pretty much will be happy with getting that education up and rolling. Then we need 12,000 for the firehouse. So got our education in. It holds a capacity of 300 people, and 161 is eligible. What about high school? No, 12 is eligible for high school, which we won't get until we're at 1,300. So, and we are close. We are close. I think we just need to add. And we have fires. So what we're going to do is we're going to have to take that loan out. And not healthcare, but fire department. And we're going to put it right there. Healthcare, we're going to add also clinic. Right there. That's unique buildings. That's not. We're at 1,300 now. As I kind of figured, we just needed that one more block. So we got a football stadium, which may be a soccer stadium. Level 2 unique buildings, event policies, landscaping, parks and plaza, a pet ban so your people can't have pets, a smoking ban so there's no smokers allowed. It enhances parks and recreation, subsidized youth, come one, come all for buses, match security, hire security staff to patrol around the stadium, cost $500 per week for a stadium. Adding more roads and stuff for canals and other avenues. These parks with the new buildings. Some parking lots. And these other, a high school is now available. And other amenities of fun that you can create within your city. So, with that being said, you're just going to put a public library right next to the elementary school. We're not going to put the elementary school and the high school right next to each other, but we are going to put a public library and the elementary school right next to each other. So, with that, burn down. So we can bulldoze that, and it will clear itself out and rebuild on that. So, overall, with that being said, this will probably conclude the first part of the series of the Wisconsin Valley within City Skylines, of creating this area, of starting this little downtown residential area, a little bit of downtown commercial, adding the fire station, the police station, got some elementary school for education, a public library, and a clinic for people to go to. And then we have our lumber, or not lumber, lumber's down here, which hasn't been made, but we have our farm industry that seems to be abandoned because we don't have the workers for it. So that is now kind of being destroyed and will be rebuilt as more residents will be in the city, as we have 1,300 right now.